Hey CJN podcast listeners, Michael Freeman here, executive producer. I wanted to share that the CJN has earned 6 Simon Rock Hour Awards this month, the Jewish Pulitzers, as some folks call them. We took home awards for magazine writing and design, and for feature stories on a Holocaust music project, BDS on Canadian campuses, and 4 women who discovered they were sisters in their golden years thanks to 23andMe. But we can't create award-winning journalism without your help. If you value independent Jewish journalism, please consider supporting us today at thecjn.ca/donate.
Is there anything as deliciously Canadian as summertime up at the cottage? Lake swims, lounging on the dock, fresh air. You leave the bustle and the heat of the city behind and retreat into the rest and serenity of nature. For some Jewish Canadians, nothing epitomizes that experience quite so much as Shabbat by a lake. Some of my own best Shabbat memories are from my years at Camp Ramah in Canada, singing and welcoming Shabbat as we looked out over the calm waters of Skeleton Lake. And especially at this moment in the world, I've been thinking more and more about the importance of stepping away from screens and reconnecting with the natural world. Filling your personal bucket with things you can touch and hold and smell, and spending time with the people you love. Touching grass, as the kids say. We wanted to bring you this story of a group of Jewish Quebecers not only celebrating Shabbat by a lake, but literally on one. I'm Zach Kaufman, one of the producers here at North Star, sitting in for Ellin Bessner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Friday, July 17th, 2026. While Ellin is out, we're bringing you some of our favorite episodes from our show's 5-year history. Today, a story straight from Laurentian cottage country, where Friday afternoons became known for hundreds of Jews paddling out to the middle of a lake, tying their boats together, and sharing challah and songs before Shabbat. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom and enjoy the show.
That's what it sounded like on a Friday afternoon in the Laurentian Mountains north of Montreal, on board Howard Stotland's pleasure boat, as his special guest passenger, cantor Daniel Ben Lolo, held the mic and led a pre-Shabbat sing-along for dozens of other Jewish boaters who were tied up alongside in their own boats in the middle of Lake Manitou, in an impromptu flotilla with 90 minutes of uplifting Jewish music, some schmoozing, and of course preparations for the coming of Shabbat. Stotland calls it Shabbat on the lake or Shabbat sur le lac, and guests bring their own food for potluck. There's freshly baked challah, Stotland's carefully curated Jewish music playlist on rotation, and prayers, and often a visiting rabbi, Dini Lewidis, who's summering in the resort area, will deliver some teaching.
Turn up the mic. Whoa. Welcome to this incredible, amazing community that Howard has inspired and motivated us to become.
A high-profile Jewish community leader or two might attend. In fact, recently, Israel's outgoing Consul General Paul Hirschon was a guest, complete with his police security detail. Howard Stotland organized it during the pandemic when he craved community and Kabbalat Shabbat. But it wasn't all smooth sailing since 2021 when it started. At first, Stotland had to find a spot to anchor that wouldn't annoy other cottagers who didn't appreciate the noise. And there were regulations and permissions to be had from local authorities too. But the weekly gathering, which began just with a few people using Stotland's personal boat, has now grown into its 4th summer, and with well over 150 people on 15 boats who attend.
Like last week, there was a lady, mother of a girl who's on the lake. And she was here last year from Amsterdam, and she attended the service last year. And I saw her, met her during the week. She says, I can't wait to be at the service again. It was my highlight for the year.
I'm Ellin Bessner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Friday, July 25th, 2025. Welcome to North Star, a podcast of the Canadian Jewish News, and made possible in part thanks to the generous support of the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. Now, Howard Stotland's Shabbat on the Lake events aren't advertised anywhere except through word of mouth. But he's not the only nautical Shabbat event in the same area of the Laurentians each week. Rabbi Emanuel Karlebach and his family from the Chabad House of Israel congregation in Saint-Agathe, which is about 15 minutes closer to Montreal, runs what he calls a pre-Shabbat on the lake. Karlebach doesn't host it at his shul, though. He's invited onto different lakes each week and hosted on someone else's boat. He brings the tefillin to wrap on the spot and a carload of challah for people not to eat on the lake, but to take home and carry out the mitzvah later at the right time. We'll chat with Rabbi Karlebach shortly, but first, here's Howard Stotland in Ivry about why the Shabbat on the lake concept is something cottagers around Canada might want to emulate. Do you want to tell us how you got the idea to get this started and when?
Yeah. So first of all, it goes back to March of the Living. And that was a program that I participated in so many times. And I loved that program so much, mainly because what it taught all the kids about what happened to the Jewish people in the Holocaust. And when I came back here, I had enjoyed the Friday so much, where our Kabbalat Shabbat with the March of the Living kids. I said, I can't live without that. I got to be able to find a way to do it. And I started it very small. I don't remember if it was 2020 or 2021. And it started off with just my boat, and I took a couple of people on. I love music, and I love putting together playlists. And then it just grew. I invited some other people, and suddenly we could be 15, 16 boats on a Friday night with 10 people on a boat or 8 people, and it's amazing. And you just feel so good about it.
So, Howard, when you say Kabbalat Shabbat, this is an actual religious service with prayers and brachas and the whole wine and kiddush and everything, or do you not go that far because it's earlier in the day?
It's not a true religious service. I'll tell you what it is. It's a mixture of everything. We try to do an hour and a half to 2 hours. And the first 45 minutes, I play music that people can sing along with, dance to, and I keep working and improving the playlist. You know, there's a lot of modern stuff that's on the playlist, as well as old songs that many people have known for many years. All Jewish songs, all Hebrew, Israeli songs. A lot of like Omar Adam, a very new guy who's out there who's terrific. They like his music. And it depends the age group that's on the boat that night, because I get all different ages.
Tel Aviv, Tel Aviv. I know that.
I might start off with Tel Aviv to get people going.
And you have loudspeakers on your boat? Is that okay? Not on your dock. It's on the boat.
On the boat. We're in the middle of the lake.
Okay. And what about the religious stuff and the challah and the juice? How does that work?
So then we get to, after about 45 minutes, we do our entrance into Shabbat, and we start with Lecha Dodi, and we have a great version of Lecha Dodi, and we all sing welcoming in the Shabbat. We would follow that with Shalom Aleichem. Then we'll have somebody come up and do the prayers on the wine, and then we do the challah, the blessing, and then there's somebody on the boat. Either there's a rabbi on our lake called Rabbi Dini Lewidis, or there's other people that are very capable of delivering a Devar Torah, and I limit it to about 5 minutes. Nobody wants to sit and listen to a 30-minute speech.
Not especially if you're getting seasick, too, rocking.
Yeah, I don't think too many people are getting sick. Sometimes right after that, we'll do Kaddish, because there's often somebody who's in the middle of the morning and they want to do Kaddish. And then we'll go back to music. And then we'll end with Hatikva. And everybody will stand nicely, and that's the end. And the boats all just drift off and go home.
Are these all people that are visiting or staying on the lake where you live? Or are these people from all over the Laurentians that come, or both?
I'd say 80% are Ivry residents, but they all have visitors for the weekend. So they bring their visitors onto the boat, And I get that every week because there's always guests from out of town. They have never seen this before, with all the boats getting together and with people singing so much. It just makes a big impact.
How far into the middle do you go of the lake?
Oh, now I picked a new spot that's only several hundred yards from my house. I used to move it around every week, and I tell people where I'm going to be. I found it easier by putting one buoy and all that. The only funny thing that happened last week, where my dock is about a couple hundred yards, so my dog is sitting on the dock and he hears all the music. He jumps into the water and swims out to the boat.
What kind of dog you said? What's his name?
His name is Cooper James, and it's a Labrador Retriever.
So he's got a Yiddish cup too.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my God. Now I want to ask you, you mentioned buoys. What legal or permission challenges did you have to get in order to have this event on a lake? It must be some association that has to approve it, and maybe the police. I don't know, right? Transport Canada.
In the beginning, we moved it around so much, and every once in a while, somebody on the lake would complain that we made too much noise. So the week after, we'd move it somewhere else, and we didn't have too many complaints, but there would be maybe one a year. And then the mayor took it upon himself to get some approval from the city council and all that. So now we just go to the same spot. Nobody bothers us. And it's so impactful.
You don't have to have lifeguards and whatever and patrolling.
Everybody has to have life jackets on their boat.
Isn't the mayor Jewish?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought he was. I remember my family told me that. And so this service is not an Orthodox service. It's not.
Yeah, a little bit it's less because we get guest performers every couple of weeks. I get Cantor Adam Stotland from Montreal, Cantor Ben Lolo. Not only that,
he's Orthodox.
I know. And they're renting a place, and the only thing I have to do is he can't stay on the boat and do the blessing of the wine because that's the real beginning of Shabbat. So when we get to that point, somebody puts him in their boat, brings him to his car, which will be right near the water, and he drives to where he's staying.
What do you think other people, let's say in Manitoba, that have cottages, and Winnipeg Beach, or even cottage country in Ontario, Muskoka, where Jewish people hear about this, has other people copied your idea? Do you know, or they've shown interest, or you think they should?
Well, now I think almost every lake up in Laurentians does it. They've all come here and they've seen what we've done. And some of them have much bigger Jewish population than even us. But, it's good to be the guy who started it. And if they copy you, it's all that better because we're affecting so many Jewish people. And I've got many Jewish people, many non-Jewish people on the lake who want to be at Shabbat on the lake. Somebody told me today, she said, make sure I'm on your WhatsApp. She is not Jewish. I put her on. And they come sometimes, and they don't know the music, but they participate a little bit. And people tell me, invite me. I want to be there.
What does that mean to you when that happens?
First of all, everything about this program gives me goosebumps and good feeling because even though I'm doing it for 4 or 5 years, it's so meaningful for me.
Now, this must cost money, isn't it? You have to get the challahs. Do you get challah for everybody, or they all bring their own, or how does it work?
Lately, I'd say there's several people who make fresh challahs and bring them on the boat. And there's almost a competition between 2 or 3 people who make the most beautiful challahs.
So the local synagogue, Chabad synagogue, is doing it. Their Shabbat on the lakes, and they go around. I wonder, I know it's different, but do you feel at all that it should be together, or you're in competition? I just wonder how you guys get along.
Karbach has come 2 or 3 times to our program, and he comes early because he has to leave. He brings challahs for everybody, and he has a lot of people do things, put tefillin on, and he does a longer Devar Torah than we would do, and then he leaves. So he doesn't stay for the music, but I know him well, and he calls me. He wants to come. We would try to work out a date when he could come. He did miss last year, but hopefully we'll get him.
You think there's room for all of this in the Laurentians, is what I'm wondering, for both of you guys.
It's a great program. It's a great look. Jewish people have an opportunity to celebrate on Shabbat, to do something on Shabbat. Now there are people that won't come on the boat, and they have Shabbat dinner and they invite people, but we get a great turnout. Those that want, nothing's for everybody. So there are certain people that I cannot get; they won't come. But when they do come and they bring their children, the children make a big impact because many of them have gone to Jewish school, and they know the songs. They even know the songs better than me. And then the parents come back again because they're bringing their children.
I mean, they all come, and it's like this ruach, or spiritual feeling for our non-Jewish listeners, or people who don't speak Hebrew. You said that on the lake, some people, you got a little pushback earlier when we were talking earlier about this. Have you at all experienced any anti-Semitism or things that people are like, les Juifs, whatever, they're making noise? I'm just asking because I have to ask, especially after October 7th.
I know, but not really. I have not seen anything. I mean, we do not feel it on this lake. There's multiple communities. There's a very Anglo community, and there's the Jewish community, and we get along very well.
Was this a lake that has always been a sort of Jewish summer resort?
It was a totally non-Jewish lake for a long, long time. And then the Jews came, and more they're growing on this lake.
I ask because it struck me that of all the lakes in the Laurentians, Lac Canouille, and all the French names of frogs, and Ivry means Hebrew.
Ivrit, yeah, I know, Hebrew.
And I wonder if you figured it out, because for me that's so symbolic. I'm sure that's not what the name was. It was probably some saint or something, right?
Oh, it's a count from France, Count Ivry. So he came here, I don't remember, 200 years ago or something.
Well, I like to see it the other way, as it's stavka. It's even more meaningful because you're making Shabbat on a lake that has this Jewish sounding name. What do you do when it's terrible weather or bad weather or windy or dangerous? Do you cancel it?
No, I do it on my screened-in porch. Everybody's invited to my house, and we set out food there and all that. So you didn't talk about the food on the boat?
You didn't tell me there's food. You said somebody makes challah. I didn't know there was a whole spread and eggplant and herring. What do you have?
Everything. Every boat brings something for their boat, and then they walk around and share it. Egg rolls, little hot dogs and blankets, smoked salmon on black bread, all kinds of good appetizers. And my goal is to have I don't want just people my age, I want all ages there all the time. Last weekend, I had 3 young kids, 19 years old, and they knew all the songs probably from Hebrew school. And they help me. And that's why I love all ages.
And it's a really wonderful thing. And I hope Canadians across the country copy what you're doing because it sounds great.
I hope so. And if I could help, I would certainly help everyone. I mean, we do it in October. We're still doing it. And there's Shabbat Shuvah, which is between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We do a weekend.
I'm sure there's so many things that have happened at the boat, marriages, shidduchs, I don't know.
No, the best was last year. One of the ladies she was in the water and she threw her phone to somebody else, but of course it went into the lake. Bye phone. But it was near the buoy, and she came back a week later. Nothing. 2 weeks later, they were diving down. They found her iPhone, and by Monday morning, it was working It's
a Shabbat miracle.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for telling us about this, and thank you, and good luck. And
I want you to come one weekend.
Deal.
Very meaningful.
And joining me from Saint-Agathe Mont is Rabbi Emmanuel Karlebach. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Friday, you have a very busy afternoon going to various lakes and doing your pre-Shabbat services. Could you start, Rabbi, by telling our listeners a little bit about how the idea for these, is it called the Shabbat on the lake? How it got started?
Sure. So we've always tried to find programs that attract people outside of the synagogue. And what a greater way. We have lakes so many lakes in this region, in this area. And so one of the programs that we started was to bring all of the boats together, give out challah, speak of the importance of Shabbos, speak about the importance of unity, of bringing communities together, and the idea of preparing for the Shabbat, of how Shabbat has kept us so special, the same way we have kept the Shabbat so special. And Shabbat Shalom is, of course, something that everybody is familiar with. And we coined the program called Boat Shalom, which became very popular.
Was this something that happened before the pandemic? During, like, how many years back did you start this?
Well, we actually brought the boats and doing the challahs together after the pandemic, but we've been having other programs on the water throughout, I would say, close to 40 years. We used to do something called not flotilla, but flotilla, which means we would, again, pick a day of the week when we would bring all the boats together and daven mincha on the water. I would always do things to try to encourage people in a fun way to realize how our traditions are just so rich and could be so family oriented, and using the abilities of a recreation where we are to only enhance the traditions that we have as Jews.
It's on the water on a boat. Is there anything halachically that you can or cannot do because you're on a boat as opposed to like in a shul?
So when it comes to this program, I really go with my tefillin, and I have to tell you that I don't have enough time because the energy on the boats are so strong and the people are just so happy to be there. That they keep on asking me, Rabbi, come on my boat, let's put on tefillin. So I jump from boat to boat, and I actually try to bring help with me. We give out Shabbat candles. We give out a challah to each family. Sometimes we can have over 200 people participating, 30 boats all together. People sometimes come with their drones, and we get some beautiful, beautiful shots. It all depends on the lake itself. It's a beautiful, beautiful event. We look forward to it every Friday.
So you have any seasickness issues when you're trying to do your wrapped tefillin when the boat is rocking?
It's funny you say that. I'm actually a very good swimmer. So when it comes to that, absolutely not. And when you pray, you're supposed to shuckle. You're supposed to shake, actually. So it goes very well with the water when you're doing some prayer.
Do you need a permit from like the lake associations or even the local authorities to do this because of boater safety at all?
Actually, we try to notify the security on the lake, and tell you the truth, they actually come there to help us to make sure that everything is okay and we're well anchored, boats don't drift, that we should be able to spend that hour of time, usually between 5 and 6, and it should be done in a safe and fun way. Because we're celebrating our 40th year as being here as Rabbi in Rebbitzin, we decided to do a first and to have an actual concert, which means a floating stage. We did it 2 weeks ago. We brought a musician, we brought a singer. I must tell you, it was so well received. People are still talking about it. And it was, again, a tribute to Jewish families together. It's really over here, such a beautiful scene to see all Jewish families coming together from all backgrounds to celebrate one thing, to celebrate the Shabbat, and to celebrate it as one people.
Congratulations. That's quite a milestone. You guys have your own boat to take you out there? How does that work?
So we used to. We used to have a boat, but no, we prefer always to join other families on their boats. It's much more fun.
Yeah, let them worry about it, and you just get the lift.
That's one way of seeing it.
Well, you have how many 200? You have 200 challahs you have to carry, right? Or they all come and get them later. Like, how does that work?
No. We bring them on the boat. We give them out sometimes in the middle, and we don't tell them what to do. A lot of people just open their challah. Everyone loves challah on a Friday. The idea is go home to your families and go home with your family and celebrate the Shabbat. And if this challah can do something to enhance your table, that's why we're giving it.
Okay, so let's talk about what you can and cannot do, because you said between 5 and 6. Yours is specifically not a Kabbalat Shabbat.
Correct. I know that it would be very spiritual to be able to, let's say, recite the Kiddush and to bring in the Shabbat on the boat and to have, let's say, a Shabbat celebration on the boat. It's problematic because Shabbat, with all of its beauty, has a sense of holiness. And that holiness requires us to refrain from principles of work. And being on that boat and getting off the boat after with all the details of it definitely complicates it. And in many ways, it may even desecrate the Shabbat itself. So for that reason, we are very clear and extremely careful to assure that we go ahead and do everything that is a preparation for the Shabbat, which means that it's just like going to a store and buying everything. We are not bringing in the Shabbat until we are in synagogue, and in our community till 7:30 p.m. We will be very careful not to violate it, and also in a way to give anyone the perception of it having Shabbat. And by the way, it's a big mitzvah to prepare for the Shabbat. So this itself has its own merit in doing something to prepare for the Shabbat.
People go out on the boat, they water ski, but after October 7th, I think there's this hunger for being together. I've seen, maybe you noticed it too. Are more people coming out than you now had before?
Yes, as much as we're hungry on Friday for challah, I say the same thing. We're hungry for the traditions and the aspects of Torah and mitzvah, which really define us as Jews.
Okay, lastly, what are the any obstacles or challenges that you might have to carrying this out?
Weather is one big problem. So we always pray to make sure we have nice weather. Like everything else, we want to expand and go into other lakes. And sometimes it takes a little more work and encouragement to see families of other lakes to be part and see this happening as well in their area. So we have a lot of lakes to cover still ahead of us.
How many do you have in your roster now?
We have 5 different lakes, so we double up with some of them. So we have over here, we call it the flagship lake, which is Lac des Sables. We have Petit Lac Long. We have Saint-Agathe. We're trying to get ourselves into Saint Donat, if anyone knows over there as well. And there are others that we have been initiating further up north.
It's been a real honor to speak to you.
Thank you, and we appreciate it.
And that's what Jewish Canada sounds like for this episode of North Star, brought to you by the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. Now, you can find out more about both meetups through the links in our show notes, and go to the YouTube channel of the CJN and watch highlights from both. If you know of similar Friday evening events on the water in your neck of the woods, let us know. We're at info@thecjn.ca. North Star is produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman and Andrea Varsany. The executive producer is Michael Freeman, and the music is by Brett Higgins. Thanks for listening, and Shabbat Shalom.